Prepare for battle.
You were beneath me. Silence is golden.
我正补，我反补，我正补，
可以啊
我又反补啦！
可以啊。
每一把都当最后一把，然后就也不要怕。
Next game number 2 between Psg.Lgd and Aster, and just in time for us to pause the game. And Cinderin, would you like to talk about Ricky a little bit here?
Yeah. We're 60-minute items. We're 30 seconds before the horn, so any second now.
And what do you think of the drafts? Anything surprise you?
Yeah, so I think the panel kind of hit the nail on the head with LGD making quite a shift, right? So in the last game, I think their lineup was more mid-game momentum-centric with the Ricky carry. In this game, they're taking the approach that, okay, Aster are very good at playing defense. They're good at, you know, holding their triangle area. They're good at preventing us from taking full control of the game, even though we have a lead. So this time, we're going to make sure that, well, if their Achilles heel is the early mid-game, that they're going to fall behind against us. What if we just have amazing scaling? So instead of a Visage off lane, they now have the Enigma, and now they have a Terrorblade safe lane instead of the Ricky. So a lot stronger late game, I think, is fair to say in terms of like the obvious scaling parts of it. But they haven't really compromised very much on their ability to skirmish and team fight, because they've taken the tiny support. They have a Snapfire 5, so both supports with stuns and team fight impact. And their mid hero this time, instead of the Ember, they've gone for the Kunkka here for nothing to say. So definitely covered their bases. At the same time, though, looking at Aster's lineup, it looks really solid to me. Like, this is what again, I'm going to refer quite a lot to Tundra and Secret. They're the teams in the up bracket final for a reason. This is the kind of style, not necessarily the exact heroes, but the style that they have been drafting a lot. So many strong pairings with stuns and skirmishing potential and team fight that I feel like Aster definitely have their bases covered as well.
Yeah, and I think we probably learned this a long time ago, but Aster in the last game not rattled very easily. Obviously, we're off to a bit of a rough start against a Ricky, no less, which probably feels even worse than usual, right?
I mean, the stat that T-Gov gave was really interesting, that LGD are 10-3 with Ricky, and the 3 losses are against Aster. Yeah, it's like literally the only team that they can't seem to beat with it. So, I mean, it's understandable that they like drafting it, but yeah, maybe it's a thorn in their side. Maybe if we get a game 3, they'll pick it again, because they're like, it can't be. We can't beat this team.
Fool me once. Well, that would be number 4 then, in theory.
Yeah, third time wasn't the charm either, so you're kind of running out of sayings at this point.
4th time's a clover. Ame is playing a more traditional carry, as you said, in the Terrorblade, so we'll see how Psg.Lgd are able to try to withstand another 0-1 deficit in a series on the same day. I mean, we talked about the fact that obviously they have the willpower and the know-how to come back from situations like this, but at certain point it's got to be exhausting doing that in the same day, surely.
I mean, it's a grand total of maximum 6 games. I feel like
it's less about the amount of games and more about
the intensity.
Yeah.
I mean, I understand that, but I think these players, again, LGD are a very, very experienced squad that have been in positions like this before. Oh, actually, pretty good damage down. Bottom on success.
Scatter Blast is there. First blood goes the way of Y.
Never even went for the spear. Just held it and ends up getting killed. Y with the Snapfire getting that first blood. Curious to see what he spends the gold on. I think Terrorblade sometimes would like to play with, let's say, a Basilius that you could buy. On a 5, when you get the first blood, it's very tempting to buy boots, but a lot of the time there's some sort of aura or whatever you can buy for your teammate that's really powerful. Maybe a buckler could be an interesting choice for a Y as well against that Mars. I guess Terrorblade isn't the best carry to benefit from it, so maybe Headdress would do more there. Looks like Y will buy neither, and he will go boots. So that was a good monologue for no reason. He's going to buy boots.
That's your career in a nutshell.
There you go.
Let's say.
Very good monologue.
Nothing burger, as it were.
Okay, that's a bit toxic.
Sorry about that. I'm just kidding. But not really. But mid lane, playing Alina, and nothing to say on the Kunkka. How does this matchup go? Normally Kunk is like a bully against main layer, but it is leaning with a very nice attack range. And a lot of spam.
I think this matchup has gone through different variations. I think there was a time that it was Kunk favored, and then there was a time that it was Lina favored, and I think now I would still give the edge to Lina. I just think maybe level 5 is where Kunk can start taking more toll over the tiebreaker. Also Predator, he's done a very good job dodging those tiebreakers. You know, is the way Kunk usually beats main heroes by getting consistent tiebreakers in to get that win. And maybe there's something to be said about this match in terms of the tower change. We got a while back with the tower region and armor. I think that helps even more than it helps Kunkka here. Is getting that little bit of extra line of defense against Tidebringers. Well, right here, TP can get bottom rune as Tiny ensures top, so no bounty or nothing stable, but it does have a full bottle and almost full health, so it didn't lose out on too much value. I see the next TP pays.
I mean, that's the one big value of having Kunkka or in the game in general. The TP out and just refill whoever. TP back as Boca. TP himself as the cookie, just a little bit late. Ame in his meta form at the moment. But looking at the CS between him and the opposing team, 18-6 for Ame this time around, and Monet sitting at 19-12. So a lot of denies in Asters' safe lane.
Yeah, and Asters' lane in this case is just gonna float, right? They're not trying to kill with the lane they have. Gyro is maxing flat cannon. When you do that, your lane doesn't really kill. It's a 5 Sven. It's gonna offer 1 stun and 1 attack, so minimal damage. But what you're doing here is you're making life miserable for the Enigma to the extent that you can. He will find some denies, of course, Faith Beyond with the conversion, but Monet also doing a very good job finding the farm. TP's mid. GQ. Could go for a toss.
Be careful, the toss back into the tower. Avalanche to follow. Nothing to say. Does have to be careful himself, though. As Jinq complete out of mana now. Everything on cooldown. Ori looks like he'll be fine. More TP's coming in, this time via Y. Interesting interaction there with the cookie and the Stormhammer, but it leads to nobody actually dying. Although lots of damage being applied to Siamese Cat on the old Sven.
Yeah, that TP from Sven mid using Warcry immediately on Ori, giving the 6 armor might have been the difference maker there for whether they could pursue that kill or not. And you can see both teams really putting so much emphasis on mid. This is effectively 6 heroes mid, minute 5. Both supports from each team made that rotation. That feels really nice, by the way, what we just did there. Arrowing siege creeps.
For sure. So as we're going to see Avalanche in the top lane, but the toss back not within tower range, so Monet's going to be A-okay. But what are your thoughts on Sven as a support? Because we've seen a lot from other teams, like EG was running the crap out of this. Rip to them, obviously. But the amount of armor that you get from this hero, especially once you get the shard and it's just a passive entity, it's kind of unreal. Like when we were reading, like when the patch came out, we're like, is this a typo? Is that real?
It is pretty crazy. Sven's downside as a support obviously is that is pretty much it, right? He gives armor and he has 1 stun. His other 2 spells are pretty bad when you're playing support. So effectively you're compromising. You're like giving up the great cleave aspect entirely. Your ult can be sometimes somewhat useful, right? If you're like, maybe it can be the difference between a kill or not, but yeah, for the most part, that's what you offer. So if armor is very good in the game, I think it's incredible, obviously. In this game, the armor component is very good against Terrorblade and Kunkka, but not so much about the rest, right? Snapfire, Tiny, and Enigma have a lot of pure and magical damage.
Yeah, they have a lot of mixed damage overall. It's nothing to say. TP's into the top lane. Gets the X off. Boat is coming as well. This is looking like a potential kill onto Monet. It's up and off rocket barrage, but it matters not, as Jinq gets credit for the kill onto Monet. So 2-0 start here for LGD.
Yeah. Good spell casting there. Wasted absolutely nothing, got full value out of Boat, full value out of the Torrent pull-up, and then the toss for the killing blow there going the way of Jinq. Currently, quick buying energy booster for mana boots on Tiny. We've seen different builds. We've seen phase boots. We've seen Tranquil, Soul Ring in the past. We've seen... I don't think we've really seen Dagger Rush this tournament on 4 Tinies. It's kind of hard to pull off after some of the economy changes that we've had. The energy booster here is definitely one of the more... it's one of the more expensive routes. Kind of costs the same as phase boots, but the idea of phase is that you buy it in smaller portion and...
Oh, Laguna Blade mid lane. All right. Y takes a tumble. So that's the first kill going the way of Aster in this game. It was the solo for Ori. I mean, when you look at the net worth discrepancy between him and Nothing to Say, it was relatively even, and that kill gives them a little extra boost now.
Yep.
Nothing to Say looking for this room, but it's going to be Ori's to take. Is only an illusion, though. Jin-Q. I mean, that's the power of the Tiny. The toss back into the tower, we've seen it a couple times, but not seen that much core Tiny as much. I mean, we see the Agnum Scepter occasionally on the...
Yeah.
What position is that? Is that the 3?
I mean, if Kataomi is playing it, it's a 4 item.
True.
But most of the time, I would say mid Tiny is the one to buy Ags more than the others in this tournament. Yeah, I guess the team playing the most core Tiny has probably been Thunder Awakened.
Oh.
But they play it on every...
Looking for the X, but not going to find it on XXS, which is what their target they would have wanted it to be. Instead, it's going to be Baboka. Can he time it? No. So it leads to a kill. Nothing to say. Relatively happy with the TP, but obviously the Mars would have been the real prize there. Sure.
Just to do a natural rotation here, though. Now that he's bottom, he can farm the wave, and the other heroes can just move off. Terrorblade more than happy to go into the jungle. Now Y is going to find that ward. Cookie away. Does not get arena trapped and killed. I think that was a potential kill there from XXS, but would have been... maybe not. 7 sticks and a Fairy Fire on Snap, and she's a strength hero, so probably not enough in the tank there, and would have needed 1 hero on backup, so didn't go for it. It's the right call.
We haven't talked about Faith Beyond too much this game, but on the Enigma, how good of an Enigma game is this? Because well, in the interview they were saying that Gyro feels like a bit of a soft counter of sorts, but a lot of that is timing based, and obviously BKB is going to essentially nullify, depending on the timing, I suppose, but...
Yeah, so Gyro's strength against this hero comes from flat cannon killing Eidolons in lane. Some of the other heroes that can also kill Eidolons don't have the luxury that Gyro does of having insane reach while doing it. Like, let's say you're comparing it to a hero like maybe Monkey King with a Boundless Strike or whatever. Sure, it has the reach, but it doesn't one-shot them. But a flat cannon, a full flat cannon volley will get the job done. What Enigma usually does to try to counteract it is he buys an early buckler and tries to tank up. But that stage is kind of over, and I think that's the soft counterpart kind of done, unless you want to consider side gunner while you're black hold.
Oh yeah, that's powerful.
Also, it actually matters when you have Satanic and stuff later. If you do pop your Satanic before you get black hold and the side gunner is healing you up, it can be a difference maker between life or death. But I wouldn't say, I think soft counter is a pretty good way of explaining it for that reason. It's not like later on that, oh, we have Gyro, we're not worried about Enigma. I think this is a really good Enigma game later.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, later on, what do they do?
They have to kill him from range with mainly the Lina, I guess, is an option. If he gets BKB Black Hole off on the Gyro, I think damage is lacking on Aster's side to really deal with him. And he's not the only problem. Like, let's say you do kill him off, you still have to worry about the Terrorblade and the Kunkka in the fight.
The X with the boat coming, TP's coming for Ori. Boat's going to connect, though. Toss on top of the Cookie, and Ori looks like he's going to live through this, and now comes the arena from XXX. Great rotation as Y is going to take the first damage here, and it looks like the Tiny will be next. Double kill for Baboka. Extremely good TP coordination here from Aster, and they might even take the tier 1 tower on top.
There is a glyph though and no siege creep. I think Kunkka is gonna be able to stall this out perhaps. Xing himself, pulling himself back.
Interesting. Just making sure it works. Yep, makes sense.
Yep, it is a functional X mark. Well, looks like you're right. There's nobody now they're
it's too late for the tower, and yeah, Jin-Q not really gonna provide too much.
I guess if Faith Beyond had a point in Midnight Pulse, he would have maybe TP'd, but he offers like nothing for that defense with this build, right? They can't really do anything. And TP in and convert what exactly? You're just putting yourself at risk of dying. No black hole play available there, so really, really nice punish from Aster there in the mid. I thought they were gonna get that Lina kill for sure, but felt like the spell casting from LGD was not completely perfect that time around. And it really dragged out. And that meant Mars could connect and get the two counter kills instead. Now 1k lead for Aster. All 3 of their cores very happy, by the way, in this game, which is the recipe for success a lot of the time in this patch, is having all 3 cores on board. A lot of the time when you see two cores faring very well at the expense of the third, I don't think that's as good as it used to be.
Right, like Faith Beyond is lagging a bit behind in terms of form right now.
It's not terrible, but absolutely on the lower end.
A lot of Eidolons to form up here as
just giving them over here to Baboka, essentially.
Yeah, why not? He's going to just hit back into the mid lane. Does have his
he's baiting
on Ori.
He was baiting it for
Shadow.
Nothing to say, but quick enough to leap away there.
They could try to re-aggress here, potentially. Especially with that haste rune in tow, but Ori looking for a potential snipe here on the other side of the river, but gonna go into the enemy triangle.
His mana is really low, though.
Yeah, that is the issue. He does have the Arcane Ring. We'll be popping the haste anyway. And That's one of those, just looking for a support maybe, because you're so close to your BKB at this point, you don't really risk it.
Yeah.
Just a couple hundred away now for him.
And if nothing else, you gather information, right? You check, is there stacks? Or am I fortunate that Terrorblade's farming on half health maybe, or something? But not the case. It's not really a big expense compared to the information that he got. Bottom lane.
2k lead for Asters, so it's growing slowly as Monet is taking out some ancient stacks now. He is 1,500 away from Aghanim's Scepter. And what do people typically go after in Ags these days on the Gyro? They hold that Thought to Spear coming in. The boat not going to connect as a result. Arrow connects on top. LSA and the Laguna Blade, but nothing to say is still alive. That Rum is very powerful indeed. But the Starstorm coming. He's still staying alive. Finally drops after seemingly forever. And Ori lifting away with just a sliver of HP, still the BKB available, but looks like he's going to be fine. His Faith Beyond obviously not with any kind of mobility as of yet. Ori just getting protected here by Siamese Cat.
What a good save for Asters to get Lina out of that situation. That looked very dangerous, but they managed to reset and trade 1-for-1, losing Kunkka for the Mirana. I think Aster are happy with that. So you're going to see the replay here. Gets that spear connection onto the tree. Boat going out here, obviously crucial for Nothing to Say even having a chance here. He would have been dead twice over almost there. Alright, it's not that good, but he would have been dead. Very dead, Shannon.
Yep.
LGD fight back immediately. They go and push out mid.
Yep, Jin Q, he's going to be taking most of the damage here. The tier 1 tower is going to fall, but it's at the trade of Jin Q.
Okay.
And Aster, I didn't know who that benefits. I mean,
you're
Jin
happy
Q
with
is
that as LGD.
pretty poor, I guess.
You want to get that tower. The fact that they could just run down there and get that done is a really... It looks easy. I think that's a pretty difficult play call to make. There's nothing obvious about that. You don't have the siege creep. The enemy team, sure, they don't have Arena and the Lina BKB, but they still have a pretty strong defensive lineup. You can get like arrowed from the flank. You can get caught by a Mars Blink Spear.
Yeah,
but they do make the right read there that it is playable.
We got the X-Boat combo again. Moonlight Shadow, though. Horn does connect. Are they doing this invisibly? No, they have the sentry there.
Great play.
So a good pick off. Kind of punished there for Psg.Lgd, but while this is happening, Monet was continuing to take out Ancients, and he is 3 goals from the Ags.
Yeah, so you asked what you get after this. Sometimes you get Daedalus, sometimes you get BKB. In rare cases, I think Maelstrom has been the thing. Against Terrorblade, I think Maelstrom is an interesting idea, because...
That used to be the old school, Maelstrom in the Ags or vice versa, pretty much every game.
Because he has so much armor, right, that you get a lot of value out of having your side gunner proc Maelstrom instead for the magic damage component, but I feel like BKB is probably the right choice. This is also what he's covering here. He needs to be able to fight at that time of the game. Gyro is a very susceptible carry when he doesn't have BKB, and he does have...
This is going to be an easy setup for XXS and company, and going to give the kill to Monet. Like, all right, I'm done farming for a bit now. Looks like BKB is next on the menu for him to answer our question. I mean, after that, you likely will go some sort of hard damage and then lifesteal with the Satanic. Yeah,
I guess when you go the BKB route, you probably don't go back for a Maelstrom, right? Even against Terrorblade, I think we're probably going to see... Because you can try... I think a mistake that a lot of players make is that they think too much about the carry versus carry matchup and how they itemize. I think a lot of the time it's better to just itemize against the enemy team in general, right? And then someone else is going to help you win the Terrorblade battle, whether it's Lina with the magic damage, all the stuns you have, kiting, his BKB, whatever it is.
Well, they're being scanned in the pit, so Aster knows, but it's too late. Ame with the Aegis, a very early sneak here for Psg.Lgd.
I say 17 minutes in. That is very early, yeah. So I'll be feeling good about that. Jinkyu back to bottom again. We'll be closing in on an eventual Blink Dagger, considering he's died 3 times and had a couple of rough ones. This is still a pretty acceptable timing, sub 20 with mana boots.
What kind of an Aegis does this need to be for Psg.Lgd? Like, do they need to get some outer towers? Is this just to buy enough time for Ame to farm a little bit more? Are they looking for some fighting?
Maybe tier 2 is possible with this. I guess you wait for Sanjin Yasha to be completed.
I mean, once you start waiting for these items, then Monet is going to be getting closer to his BKB, and he'll be probably okay to fight as well.
Wait, what item is Ame actually buying? He's buying like every item. He has
Okay,
half
so
a,
it's
half a Pike, half a Manta, half a Sanjin Yasha.
Is the Manta recipe not on the way, I guess?
I don't think so. I mean, then he wouldn't be still having the Sanjin in his quick buy, right?
Yeah.
I guess he does come in for the Sanjin Yasha, and then he's going to turn the ultimate orb into Skadi, which is fine.
Okay.
But usually when you go this, you would see the Sanjin Yasha before the ultimate orb, right? I think it looks like he kind of changed his mind halfway.
Yeah.
And wants that status resistance coverage for perhaps again.
They do have a lot of stunts.
They do.
A lot of stunts.
Which is where many players would go BKB, right? But he does have some protection. He has Cookie, he has the Ghost Ship, and defensive toss. So there are ways of getting him out of trouble if it does happen. Can you toss out of Arena now? More? You remember there was that patch where Arena got, like, you can't get out with the same escapes that you used to, like jumping out of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if you escape with toss, actually. I'm gonna say you.
I would say yes, but
can,
just
but it might just
guess.
be my old.
Your old brain.
My old interpretation of it, or my memories telling me that it works, and maybe it doesn't anymore. We might see that play later in.
Yep, we'll have
and
to
learn
wait.
something new.
Siamese Cat, if he would tank this gank, I think Aster would be very fine with this exchange. He's going to have to use the War Cry. X coming out though. Avalanche not really going to connect, but still, this is for a support Sven. Spirit coming out, does connect onto Jin Q in the meantime. Wraith Pact is popped as Monet. Looks like they're going to get the kill onto Jin Q first. And now a nice Arena coming out. Do they have the follow-up? Black Hole is used only on the Mars for now, but the right clicks from Ori are starting to do a fierce amount of damage. Nothing to say, has to BKB TP. Doesn't even want to bother finishing off the support Sven. Now Ame being chased, homing missile on the way, but the buyback from Snapfire. Looks like that'll be enough for Aster to retreat, but
Great fight for them.
absolutely.
They get the Sven caught out, but he doesn't even die. Like I think the Avalanche was too short range there from Jinkyu. They got the X mark off, but again, the spellcasting from Lgd leaves a little bit to be desired. So you're going to see it here. He finds the X mark now out of the Torrent vision, but Avalanche completely wasted. They then pull him into the boat, and now they're going to just toss a creep onto him instead of tossing the Sven back.
Yeah.
And Jinkyu dies anyway, so
and even by the end of it, they'd never got the Sven.
yeah, he just ended up not dying and getting Warcry value out. And the Black Hole, not great either, as you said, only catches the Mars, and he already has the Arena out. Terrorblade without BKB can't really go and deal damage to the Black Hole target. Just overall, a bit of a mess there from LGD and Aster. Great counterplay.
And we have the Avatos, and will they? Okay.
This time
Siamese Cat dies. It's just about a minute later than anticipated.
His first death of the game on 5 Sven, 20 minutes in.
That is impressive.
Feels pretty good.
Yeah. We will say, I asked you what kind of Aegis this was going to be for Ame. It has been the not very good kind.
Oh, he went
I mean, at the very least, you take it away from Aster, but I don't think they were going to go for a Roche that early anyway. No true value coming out.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, if he didn't have Aegis, maybe they would focus him down in that fight and they just wouldn't ignore him like they kind of were.
Yeah, potentially. I also just think naturally the way the fight developed, he wasn't ever really a target with how the Arena was used, with how the Lina spells were used to begin with. But yeah, he does complete the Skadi, so he went away from the Sanjin Yasha, but he still has it in quick buy, and now he changed his quick buy to BKB. So I feel like over the last 5 minutes, Ame has had the items he's had in quick buy is what a lot of players farm in the entire game. He has only bought some of them. Obviously, if he had bought all of the items in quick buy, they would probably be 10k gold ahead. So BKB will be the one. He's going to keep the casual Yasha and finish the Skadi, and then very curious what he considers after. And I like the BKB choice because I think you have to have a way of accessing this Arena, right? Like, it's part of the reason Aster are picking the Mars into this game is to deal with that Terrorblade. I think Ame's just struggling. He's having trouble finding impact in the fights, really.
Oh, this is pretty scary for Psg.Lgd. Aster now smoking up. They have 2 fresh BKBs on their cores.
Yep.
And if they get the jump, this could be just adding insult to injury for Psg.Lgd, who are down 1-0 in this best-of-3 lower bracket.
Dire are scanning.
But you can see their spidey senses are tingling. They're grouping up in their own triangle, and looks like they'll dodge most of it here.
Faith
Although
Beyond.
Vision now, yeah, Faith Beyond might take the brunt here. Arrow coming, not even needed. But
Spawns.
counter initiation, Jinkyu gets a nice toss-up, but that's the BKB from Monet, used defensively. Buyback down to Faith Beyond. Doesn't have any way to get inside the battle easily, though. Oh, nothing to say, jumps really deep in. Pops the BKB for himself. Absolutely, he wants to fight. Gets off the Torrent as well as the ship. Trying to focus down Monet. He's going to be close. He's getting very low. Still the focus continues, but nothing says. Also taking all the damage. He's out so far, and he's dead. And Faith Beyond, he dies as well. That's a from Jin Q. Can they get the Lina? Ori, they need to get something out of this. Little Shredder is enough. It's going to cost Y his life, but certainly worth it. But now Ame, he's only here with Jin Q. Can they do enough to take him out here? He's trying to get kited here, but there's the Avatos from Jin Q. Spear out. Ame with a sliver of HP. They find the gyro finally, as XXS has to BKB teleport away. So Psg.Lgd gets something out of it eventually, but my goodness, it cost a lot.
I think Ame was actually counting on sundering the Terrorblade during, or sorry, sundering the Mars during that. XXS had his BKB at the end of the fight. He kept it the whole way, and when Ame was about to sunder, he pops the BKB, and I think that's just panic mode, but he still manages to get the gyro. So we're going to see the way this all started out, this easy, clean kill. There will be a quick response here. That toss onto gyro looks promising, but the Terrorblade Scotty not enough to pursue and lock down Monet. He's still very, very tanky on that gyro. 20 base armor, has a lot of health from his item buildup. And then this from, honestly, from nothing to say. I was like, I thought this was amazing that he even goes for this, and I thought it was going to work with the Snapfire ult.
It was close, yeah.
But not quite enough in the tank. And again, the great defensive arena there from XXS prevented them from completing and finishing the job there. They do get him in the end, but not the way they would have imagined. But when all's said and done, and it is actually a win for LGD. Overall, despite buying back Enigma, they claw back some of that net worth advantage that Aster had. The kill on gyro was just that big that they end up finding here.
You know, fortifications pop for the tier 2 bot, but looks like Aster is likely to get this for free once this wave connects.
I wonder what they're going to do now, because you can chill a little bit as Aster and start working up some more damage on your gyro. Obviously, he was very survivable that last fight. His damage is nothing to write home about right now. When you go Axe, BKB, Falcon Blade, you have so much net worth, but so little physical damage. And now he's going to build into that Daedalus, which is pretty standard. Despite playing against Terrorblade, who has a bajillion armor, you still buy it to kill the rest of his team. Maybe you get the Crystallis, and then you start looking at contesting Roche, because that will be the next point of contention in the game. Minute and a half away. Players obviously do not know this, but it's pretty close to the max spawn time, so they kind of do know that that will be the very latest that they have to be ready. Ame now with the BKB on Terrorblade. He's working on Silver Edge. Can break, kill off the Mars pretty quickly if he gets stunned by something. Does it break Side Gunner? Actually, don't remember this.
That's a good question.
If it does,
I'm gonna say no, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like we knew this before. We've talked about this, but you know, we don't listen to each other, so...
No, so the thing about Dota is that there's things that you take for granted and you remember because they were a specific way for either for a very long time or for a specific time that you remember very clearly. And then there's... Yeah, like since that time, there's been 3 or 4 patches that just affect different heroes in different ways, and it's very hard to remember everything and keep doing.
I mean, this conversation is a great example. I will not remember this even by tomorrow, most likely. Is the tier 2 tower now being beat down by Omelette?
Okay. You don't even remember, I bet.
I don't actually.
Oh, there you go.
That's part of getting old. As Monet, triangle, trade the towers, but obviously the tier top very important to help gain a little bit of extra control for the Roche pit.
It's going to force them back here. This Roche takes.
Okay.
First of all, it's not up, but even if it was, they kind of have to come back. For now. So maybe nobody rotates back. They keep this Iron Grip on the on this stronghold in the radiant top side of the jungle, but obviously very important area to control that. You can see in the mini-map matches, you'll not almost but they're not going to get anything he gets the charge himself. Interesting. Really thought that I thought that LGD were going to be more successful with this bottom push or Terrorblade and maybe at least one TP back, but after keep the pool, they don't fall for it. They lose half a tier 3, but well worth it for that Roche. They made the conscious call of, okay, if they don't commit really hard, we can let them have a bit of chip damage there. As long as we stand strong here, we know Roche is about to spawn, and that's a bigger objective. I think if they were given the choice, they would still have lost the entire tower, but it's like this is just too important to have this Aegis right now, and even if you open up a lane to potential Terrorblade push, guess what? You just start playing this side of the map, and it doesn't really matter whether this tower is there or not. You just keep pushing out bottom, controlling that.
They want to get aggressive. They want to use this Aegis in full form. Monet did take the shard, and I looked, and it's because a couple of his teammates already have shards purchased. As he's gonna run right into Y, and Y is like, oh boy, I'm dead. Sorry guys. Outpost, they had it for about 6 seconds total.
Oh, they did have it at minute 28, right?
True.
So, very good.
Very good.
Double damage denied here. The way more important thing that happened on the map. Arguably more important than Snapfire's death, to be honest.
That's really sad.
Denying that double damage away from Aster with an illusion. If that goes on the gyro in a bottle, stuff could get really, really scary. Because even if he's black hole, the side gunner is still running, and a double damage side gunner gyro hits really hard. So, don't have to worry about that, but yeah, interesting they gave the shot over to the gyro. What were the alternative choices? You could have given it to Lina or Mirana, right? They're the two others that don't have it. So the Mirana one has not exactly been very favored.
Nope.
And the Lina one, the Fiery Soul, you're playing right click, so again, maybe not. I mean, it's damage, right?
It is,
but it's only on your spells.
It's damage. So. I'm not sure how strong that one is. I really, hard to gauge, honestly.
The gyro one's pretty nice.
Gyro one's pretty good. Obviously, we see it a lot as support gyros, not on position 1, but if it's free, it's free. Meta already popped by Ame. Jin-Q trying to get up the toss combo, not able to find it though, as the Moonlight Shadow gives them cover. And Aster can just reset and wait for the meta if they want, or they can just have the high ground control right now.
You see this Ops ward that they snuck up here from Psg.Lgd down on the lower half is not in range of Sentry, but the better ward's still on Aster's side. They have the one on the high ground, so they have very good information in the area, and LGD know this, and they're not willing to pursue. And like you said, wait out the meta. What are you going to do next? I think Ame was really hoping for a fight to break out there. He was in a great defensive position in the tree line, but Jin-Q was not able to find anyone for him to start on. And Aster
starting to get pretty scary for Psg.Lgd, Cinderin. Elimination match again, second time today.
Yep.
And we obviously know the storyline behind Faith Beyond saying he will not be playing again after this tournament. Of course, we'll see if that ends up being true. I think take the over-under on that in terms of pros that have said they're retiring.
Yeah, we have the good old meme of Chinese retirement, right? I think there's a...
Yeah, it's not just...
The ratio of actual retirement there from Dota is probably lower than in other regions where people say they're retiring, where more times they have actually stayed retired, but the track record in general, nobody really leaves Dota, right?
One way or the other, for sure.
Radiant's middle tower.
And of course, another
maybe
series
he means
with
when
Liquid.
he's done with the tournament, he will retire from the tournament and go home.
That is possible. The English is actually really good now, so
it's pretty good media bait, though. That's it. He's got so good English now that he,
yeah, the clickbait is just built in now. Monet still with a minute and a half on the Aegis. Cookie's not going to hit. And obviously they have really good map control and the 8K lead, which isn't insurmountable by any means. I mean, it's 31 minutes in, so definitely a way to come back for Psg.Lgd. And obviously, when you see an Enigma, that is the hero you look at for late game. Faith Beyond has the Blink Dagger, just no BKB yet. But once he gets the BKB, what do you do against it if you're able to get a good black hole BKB?
Just don't get black hole.
That's it?
Yeah.
You don't go for like some weird basher build on Gyro or something?
I mean, it is a possibility, but
I mean, with Side Gunner.
Side Gunner is reliable in the sense that it always attacks the farthest unit away, right? So if Enigma is close to you and black holing you, he's probably not going to be the target that you get the Side Gunner bash on, right?
True.
So not really going to work, I think. Yeah, like traditionally in some games you would go like, oh, hang on, that's no time for that.
Have a toss from Jin-Q. Monet already at half HP, but he's certainly fine for now. He's going to get torrented. Controlled a bit, trying to reset though. XXS getting kited by Ame, but Monet wants to go really deep. He just wants to use his agents. Please kill me, 10 seconds left. There's the black hole from Faith Beyond, only on one, but it's a very important one in Ori, who dies inside BKB. Right clicks are there from Ame. That's a double kill for him. And the arena comes out. Nice spear as well. Trying to focus down Ame before he can get the Sunder off. He gets tossed away. It's not going to be enough though. Double kill from Monet as he is just demolishing Psg.Lgd with his Aghanim Scepter and right click build.
They were literally playing volleyball with the Terrorblade. They cookied him in and then they tossed him out and he couldn't control himself.
Volleyball with the demon, huh?
I mean, I think they were hoping to get that cookie at a different angle, but Ame was facing forward. He gets cookie tossed into the wall of the arena and then they try to toss him back the other way. Also goes wrong. Never gets it off. that looked very promising for LGD as soon as Ame stopped going on the gyro. That was a very clear play call. Guys, the Aegis is expiring in 10 seconds. Don't kill him. And then they try to snapfire ult him after. But what Monet does there is great. He BKBs immediately when the Aegis runs out. So the regen keeps ticking in instead of taking damage from that snapfire ult. And it gives him the resources to take this fight. So pay attention here. He's going to go in. And now the call's made. Wait, why don't we just not kill him here? So Ame's just going to move over, start killing the Lina, which is definitely a better target here. It gets the Mirana as well. And now you're going to see the Aegis pop here. And as soon as the Snapfire comes out, BKB now from Monet. Actually, he's dodging it.
You're right, he dodged it.
He dodged the first 2 or 3 globs there from Y, and then BKB comes in with full health, full mana, gets these kills, and yeah. Ame...
So close.
Ame has not spent a lot of his time being a ball. He has mainly played Dota, so didn't really know what to do in that instance.
I don't know how to segue out of that. I'm just going to start casting the game normally and pretend you didn't say it. 12k lead for Aster now. Next Roche, we won't know for another minute 20. And, I mean, that second Roche, obviously very important. It doubled the lead, essentially, I believe, for Aster. And it's continuing to grow here. But that third one, every next Roche is more important than the last, it seems. It could have the Ags or the Refresher Shard, which both would be very good for Aster in this case.
I find it really fascinating how just looking at Ame's quick buy during this game kind of tells the story of his whole thought process, right? He's gone through so many different items before he's made his decision. Now he was eyeing up the MKB to deal with Gyro, but now he's opting up, settling for a Silver Edge so he gets critical strike and gets the break from Mars, who's turning out to be a really big problem for him as well. Like, it's just a lot of issues that Terrorblade needs to solve in this game. And I think a lot of people can kind of empathize with this position when they're playing carry in a game where you're behind. It feels like every item purchase you make is so important, and you feel like all of them are not the right one, right? Like eventually you just have to pick one and go with it, and it will be the Silver Edge here, and this has to pay off in a big way. Obviously we didn't get to cover it, but Gyro with the Butterfly was very tanky in that last engagement. They have no True Strike for him yet, with Terrorblade going this route, and even eyeing up Satanic as his next choice currently. Ame might never buy True Strike against him.
Well, we'll see how the next fight goes and see if he changes his mind. As Monet is 3,700 into a Satanic. And actually, I didn't even realize he didn't bother finishing the Daedalus. It's just a casual Chrysalis. He went for Butterfly after it.
That order, I think, was really a cool choice in this game instead of finishing the Daedalus. He will get it eventually, but the Satanic is a little bit more surprising.
Oh, Siamese Cat runs into Y. There's the Arena, #1 from XXS because he has the Refresher Orb. As they're going to delete Jin Q to start this fight, and they find the Snapfire as well. So 2 very important supports down for Psg.Lgd. Ame, he's waiting in the wings, but they see it thanks to the Sentry. There's the Refresher Orb. Has the Arena, but doesn't want to use it because of the BKB. They're actually kiting him pretty well. Feels like a wasted BKB from Ame in the end. But there's the Arena, not quite in range, but nothing to say. Forced to pop his BKB.
Look out for that black hole here.
But there's the tidal wave. Bring Monet into the black hole. Are you serious? What a combo. And Monet trying to right-click a bit, but his right-click from Ame are too much. Double kill for Ame, but Ori going to town on Faith Beyond. Ends up being a 3-for-1, but now the buyback's onto Siamese Cat. Ame has to try to reset. He's going to get the double spear with the shard. Triple kill on Ori. Nothing to say is dead. Will he get the Sunder? No. Ultra kill Ori and into the Roche Pit, which doesn't have anybody in it for the next 10 seconds.
Gyro's the carry?
Wow.
I think Lina's the carry.
Wow, that tidal wave was disgusting. But it didn't matter.
Wow, what an insane
That was
fight.
so hype.
I think LGD's choice there, they lose both supports and they still stick around and choose to take that fight with the buyback on Tiny and Enigma waiting off to the side. I love the way Aster approached that. Sure, in the end you do get the 2-man black hole, but they really had to work for it. And Lina had a totally free fight because of how much of a threat the other heroes were posing. And he just ends up cleaning house. Ori now with his back-to-back Lina games has really made work with this hero, and this will be the first lane of barracks most likely.
Radiant's middle tower.
Unless this Snapfire
Pretty good. Mortimer's kisses. Looks like Siamese Cat. He's burning, but got the
good glimmer.
War Cry to get away. Satanic now online for Ori.
You know, this kind of reminds me of the quiz you get in the game when you're queuing. It's like, which hero won a game 2 hours ago with this build?
Right.
And you see Brown Boots, Glimmer Cape, Drum, and you see that 2 years ago, and the answer is Sven. You're like, which bracket was that? You know?
I mean, could have been position 1 that just went really wrong.
Right now.
And we're going to see a replay of what happened. But XXS with some great plays, obviously taking out the support right away. The fact that he didn't use the arena because of the BKB from Ame here very shortly. As you can see, he's just waiting there, waiting to start the fight. And then shortly, I believe we're going to see the tidal wave, which I'm trying to remember if the black hole was up already when he tidal wave. We'll see.
There's the ghost ship.
There's the tidal
wave up to there.
Yeah, that was, oh man, that was nice. The kill was pretty big on Monet, but they still were able to recover. Now Aster into the pit. And Roche number 3 with Aghanim Scepter. Who the hell takes this action? Now that I look at it, it's a little awkward. Maybe the Mirana? Mars Bulwark?
Lina?
Lina is for the piercing? Oh no, it's a new one. That's
Lina's
right.
is pretty good.
Flame Cloak.
I think Flame Cloak's nice. Wait, who did?
My pet, thanks.
Where are they getting it to? All right, Gyro wants to hold it for now. I mean, why not?
Dire's top tower.
Why not have 2 Ags? You're gonna pass it over or
Is
what?
he holding it?
He's still holding it, right?
Are you sure that's not the one he bought?
Am I tripping? Wait, where is it?
Mirana. There we go.
They gave it to Mirana over Lina.
I mean, maybe they just don't know what the Flame Cloak does. Because I don't, if I'm being honest. But Sacred Arrow, able to proc the Starstorm. I mean, it's a good Ags for sure.
Even if you're playing physical Lina, I think just the flying movement is amazing, right? Like, in these chasing sequences, I feel like Flame Cloak is just great. Magic Resist is nice. Like, there's just so much value. I
mean, it does increase your net worth, right?
Sure, I don't think that's the consideration here. But I don't know. I kind of disagree with giving it to the Mirana over Lina, though. But at the end of the day, they're in such a commanding position that it might be fine regardless. I just wonder what the reasoning was here.
Scanning.
With giving it to the Mirana. That's why I was looking at the Gyro, because I was like, who else would have it, right? He already has his, so he was carrying on. I was like, oh, did he?
It's definitely an awkward Ags game. This is one of the few instances where Refresher Shard would have been objectively better, I think.
Yeah, I think that's fair to say. I think Refresher could have been better. I mean, at the same time, though, Mars has the orb,
That's true.
and he's the guy you would probably get it on.
And now it shares the cooldown, right? Or what was that change again?
Refresher doesn't refresh in the backpack, right?
I thought there was something in addition to that.
And it shares cooldown with Shard. You're right. Yeah,
Okay,
you can't use them back to back.
Very good.
Yep.
We doubt myself.
Yep.
28k lead here for Aster.
But Faith Beyond has a BKB now, minute 40.
Yes, the black hole is available.
Is it too little too late, though? And with Satanic on Gyro, as we talked about, as long as you pop that before you get black holed, you're very likely to survive it.
Well, there's the MKB. So, True Strike available for Ame.
Okay, so he does go that route after all instead of Satanic. I agree with this choice. I think he has to. Doesn't feel great.
Yeah.
To have to buy that here.
Not having lifesteal is kind of a big deal. It kind of makes you rely on your teammates and Sunder, which Aster has been doing a really good job of positioning to avoid the Sunder once the stun durations are over. So it's not been very easy for Ame at all.
He is effectively rendering Monet's neutral item kind of useless.
Well, they made Faith Beyond use his Blink Dagger already. There's the first arena, and trying to save his teammate was Jin Q, but he's just going to die instead. And that's 2 dead with no buyback. Aster in a 5v3 commanding position in this game number 2. Faith Beyond going for the BKB black hole. It's just on Ore. He's still pretty damn good kill, but he doesn't have buyback. Monet, he's trying to go to town with the Satanic. He's able to take out Faith Beyond in turn. Ame gets the Sunder off at the last moment, but now he's completely surrounded, pinned to the barracks, and he's dead! 4 dead for Psg.Lgd as GG's come out. Aster eliminate LGD from TI-11.
Yeah, they were just better this game, right?
Oh yeah.
There's no need to dance around it. They were literally just better. The lanes went exceptionally well. Their fight selection was better. Their team fight execution was better. You know, Aster did come